You misled Representative Issa in May 2011, saying you did not learn about the Fast and Furious program until the spring of 2011. And then you had to admit to Senator Grassley that you learned about those tactics in January of 2011. You claimed in a press conference in September 2011 you had no knowledge of the Fast and Furious gun walking program, while it's clear that your inner circle, your high-level Department of Justice employees, received briefings and memos on Fast and Furious gun walking, including Lanny Brewer, Deputy AG Grindler, and others in early 2010. You claim that the Fast and Furious wiretap applications did not detail gun walking tactics. I've read them, Senator Sessions has read them, and Senator Grassley obviously has read them, yet they do raise plenty of details to raise a red flag about this tactic. You have defied the lawful and legitimate oversight responsibilities of the House of Representatives and of the Senate. You've resisted producing documents. You've produced about 7,600 documents out of a pool of at least 80,000 documents that would be responsive. And you failed to respond to my letter of August 2011 where I asked you about gun walking tactics that occurred in my state. So 16 months after Fast and Furious was uncovered and Brian Terry lost his life in the service to his country at the hands of a drug cartel member who shot him using a weapon that was allowed to walk under this program, there has been zero accountability at the Department of Justice. You won't appoint a special prosecutor in the face of a potential conflict of interest. You won't tell the truth about what you know and when you knew it on Fast and Furious. You won't cooperate with a legitimate congressional investigation. You won't answer my questions about gun walking in Texas. You won't take any responsibility for the failures of your inner circle. And you won't acknowledge what your top aides knowingly misled Congress about over 8 months, and you won't hold anyone accountable. So, Mr. Attorney General, I'm afraid we've come to an impasse. The leaking of classified information represents a major threat to our national security, and your office faces a clear conflict of interest, yet you won't appoint a special counsel. You won't support a truly independent investigation, and you won't take the threat seriously. Meanwhile, you still resist coming clean about what you knew and when you knew it with regard to Operation Fast and Furious. You won't cooperate with a legitimate congressional investigation, and you won't hold anyone, including yourself, accountable. Your department blocks states from implementing attempts to combat voter fraud. In short, you've violated the public trust, in my view, and by failing and refusing to perform the duties of your office. So, Mr. Attorney General, it's more with sorrow than regret, than anger, that I would say that you leave me no alternative but to join those that call upon you to resign your office. Americans deserve an Attorney General who will be honest with them. They deserve an Attorney General who will uphold the basic standards of political independence and accountability. You've proven time and time again, sadly, that you're unwilling to do so. The American people deserve better. They deserve an Attorney General who is accountable and independent. They deserve an Attorney General who puts justice before politics. And it's my sincere hope that President Obama will replace you with someone who is up to that challenge.
Well, Mr. Attorney General, you certainly have the right to respond to that. The senator from Texas has accused you of perjury, which is a criminal offense. I realize that I remember his strong support of one of your predecessors, Attorney General Gonzalez. I had a different view of that. I felt that you were a more appropriate person to be Attorney General, so feel free to respond.
Yeah, with all due respect, Senator, there's so much that's factually wrong with the premises that you started your statement with. It's almost breathtaking in its inaccuracy. So, but I'll simply leave it at that. We want to talk about Fast and Furious. This is, I guess, what, the 9th time? This is now the 9th time that I have answered questions before a congressional committee about Fast and Furious. If you want to talk about Fast and Furious, I'm the Attorney General that put an end to the misguided tactics that were used in Fast and Furious. An Attorney General who I suppose you would hold in higher regard was briefed on these kinds of tactics in an operation called Wide Receiver and did nothing to stop them. Nothing. 300 guns at least walked in that instance. I'm also the Attorney General who called on an Inspector General to look into this matter, to investigate this matter. I'm also the Attorney General who made personnel changes at ATF and in the U.S. Attorney's Office that was involved. Have overseen the changes of processes and procedures within ATF to make sure that this doesn't happen ever again. So I don't have any intention of resigning. I heard the White House press officer say yesterday that the President has absolute confidence in me. I don't have any reason to believe that that, in fact, is not the case. And in terms of, what it is that we have turned over, to Congress in this regard, I think let's put something on the record here. We have collected data from 200, and this is with regard to Fast and Furious. You guys want to keep talking about it. We've collected data from 240 custodians. We have processed millions of electronic records, looked at over 140,000 documents, turned over 7,600 pages over the course of 46 separate productions. We have made available people from the department at the highest levels to be interviewed. And I've also indicated, I guess, earlier in my testimony, to the extent that all of that is not enough to satisfy the concerns that have been raised in the House committee, I am willing to sit down and talk about the provision of more materials. I have sent letters in that regard. The Deputy Attorney General has sent letters in that regard and have not had responses, which leads me to believe that the desire here is not for an accommodation, but for a political point-making. And that is the kind of thing that, you and your side, I guess, have the ability to do if that's what you want to do. It is the thing that I think turns people off about Washington. While we have very serious problems, we're still involved in this political gamesmanship.